Yovel comes once every 50 years. And to commemorate the freedom that the slaves felt, we blow the shofar at the end of the Ne'ilah. And I don't know about you, but I feel like a slave that has been liberated. When that shofar blows, it's like, can relax. Life is back to normal. Rosh Hashanah, Aser Shmei early Slichas, Yom Kippur, shofar blows, we can relax. It's freedom. I don't think that was exactly what Chazal had in mind when they had blowing shofar at the end of Ne'ilah. Freedom, yes, but of a different sort. We all struggle, a whole year, all the time. What are we living for? What direction are we focused in? What is our direction? Our decision-making process. What do we value? How do we value? How do we assess? How do we give value to things? On what basis? And the idea of the Rosh Hashanah, Aser Shmei Tshuva, Yom Kippur, is to make it very clear on what basis we set our values. Let me tell you a little story. There was a yid, a poor guy, a poor man, who he was looking for a parnasa. He couldn't find one, so he figured, all right. He found a nice corner to stand on, and he put out a hat, and people would come by, and they drop in 50 cents. Every person who came by dropped in 50 cents. Oh, he was happy. But he heard a few blocks down on another corner, there's a guy who gets $1. Every guy who passes by, they'll give him $1. He's like, how does he do that? He's like, listen, this is my business, got a network, took the trip, a couple blocks down, met the guy, and he says, Yid, he said, I hear you get $1 from everybody who passes by. How do you do that? I'm Hasidish, you see, I wear the Hasidish lavosh, so people come by, they give me $1. He says, really? All right. He went to Bar Park, went to the G&G, the Bekisha store, got himself a nice Bekisha, got himself some socks, hat, decked out, grew his beard a little longer, he was ready. And set up shop, and lo and behold, every guy who came by gave him $1. All right, business was good. A couple weeks later, he heard there's another guy, not a few blocks in the next neighborhood, he gets $5. Every guy who comes by gives him $5. He's like, I gotta go speak to him. So he takes off a half a day from his job, and he goes to the next town over, and he asks the guy, hey, I hear you get $5. People give you $5. He says, how do you do it? He says, well, I'm a ger, and people have rachmanis. The Torah says you're supposed to have rachmanis on a ger, so people give me more. He says, okay. Went back to his corner, bought an oak tag, a marker, wrote in it, I am a ger. Set it up in front of him, and lo and behold, people came by and started giving him $5. Like, wow, this is great. All right, time goes on, he's doing it right, but he hears that there's someone in the city over who gets $10. At center, people come by, they give him $10. Like, how does that happen? Who can get $10? So he took off 2 days from work, figured, listen, it's important. He took the trip to the next village, the next city over, met the guy. He says, is it true they gave you $10? He says, yeah, it's true. He says, what do you do? How do you do it? He said, well, I'm an einikel of the Baal Shem Tov. And when you tell someone you're an einikel of the Baal Shem Tov, there they give you $10. I said, all right. Came back home, took out his oak tag. He still had some room on the bottom. On the top it said, I am a ger. And on the bottom he writes, I'm an einikel of the Baal Shem Tov. Now you and I know that you can't be both. You see, the freedom we get at the end of Ne'ilah is realizing we're not both. You can either be an Olam Habadik Yid or an Olam Hazadik Yid. You're either living for spirituality or you're living for materialism. You can only have one focus. Our heart has room for one direction. David HaMelech says, Kirchoik Mizrach Mi Ma'ariv. Like the distance from east to west. That's how far a distance I am from sin. What does that mean? How distant you are? How far is east from west? What does that mean? The pshat, it depends what direction you're faced in. You can have two people standing right next to each other. If they're back to back, they start walking, they'll never meet. The avodah Rosh Hashanah, Aser Shmei Tshuva, Yom Kippur, Ne'ilah, is to focus, direct ourselves. We're here for one purpose. We're here to be Marba Kveit Shemayim. We're here to serve Hashem. We're here to gain Olam Haba. You can't be a ger and the Einakol of the Baal Shem, but we can all be Avodim of the Melech. When that shofar blows, let's feel the freedom of having a clear direction. Let's feel the independence, the chayrus, to serve Hashem with a focus. Let's be zeiche to a gemar chesima toiva, to chai nitzchi, to ilam haba, to ruchnius, to gashmius, to everything that we want, Kadosh Baruch Hu should give us as avodim to the Melech.